Record budget exposed. Ottawa spends $500 million to power deportation crackdown. Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Canada's immigration system is under more pressure than ever, and Ottawa is responding with money, power, and a plan that's sparking nationwide debate. The government is spending $500 million to fuel one of the biggest deportation crackdowns in recent history. But where is that money really going? Who will feel the impact? And could this massive budget change the way Canada enforces its immigration laws forever? In today's video, we'll uncover how this record spending affects taxpayers, newcomers, and the country's reputation on the world stage. You'll see how this shift could reshape border operations and why it's not just about enforcement. It's about efficiency, technology, and control. Stay until the end as we reveal the hidden variable that could decide the crackdown's fate: Canada's digital weak spot. It could make or break Ottawa's $500 million plan. If you care about what's really happening behind the numbers, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's get started. The strain on Canada's immigration and asylum system has reached a breaking point. Backlogs are swelling, enforcement teams are overwhelmed, and political pressure is growing. Ottawa's answer is to channel hundreds of millions of dollars into deportation, detention, and border operations. This is the largest enforcement budget in years. But what does $500 million actually buy, and who carries the cost? Canada's system was designed decades ago for smaller caseloads. Today it faces unprecedented numbers of asylum seekers, temporary foreign workers, and irregular entrants. The result is a process clogged with appeals and administrative delays. Ottawa's solution is to expand the Canada Border Services Agency, aiming to deter violations, accelerate removals, and recover some costs from deportees. But can money alone fix the problem, or will it simply expose deeper flaws? What $500 million really means. According to the Canada Border Services Agency's 2025-26 departmental plan, the Border Enforcement Program will receive about $513 million, up from $381 million just 2 years ago. It's the largest allocation in the agency's history and signals a major shift towards stronger enforcement and faster removals. This funding is part of Ottawa's broader border plan, designed to modernize security, improve intelligence systems, and expand detention capacity. Not every dollar goes directly to deportations, but together, these investments strengthen the infrastructure that makes removals possible, from investigations and hearings to the final flight home. When officials call it $500 million, they mean the total cost of maintaining an entire enforcement ecosystem. The new removal fees. Starting April 2025, the Canada Border Services Agency will overhaul its cost recovery system for removals for the first time since 1993. The old flat rate of about $1,500 per case is being replaced with 2 tiers. Escorted removals, when officers accompany the individual, will cost around $12,800. Unescorted removals, where the person travels independently, will exceed $3,800. If someone cannot pay, the government covers the cost and records the debt, which can block future re-entry. In 2024, less than $500,000 was recovered, tiny compared to total expenses. Ottawa hopes higher fees will deter overstays and reduce taxpayer burden. Deportations are costly. They involve flights, documentation, escorts, and detention time. Officials argue that charging closer to true cost promotes fairness, but critics say it punishes vulnerable people already struggling to stay afloat. Legal barriers and operational challenges. Even with record funding, removals can't happen overnight. Deportations must comply with Canadian and international law, balancing speed with due process. The Canada Border Services Agency focuses on cases involving serious criminality, failed refugee claimants, and those under enforceable removal orders. Each individual still has rights: a pre-removal risk assessment if they fear persecution, the option to appeal before the federal court or Immigration Appeal Division, and possible deferrals for humanitarian reasons. Removals also depend on cooperation from destination countries. Some governments refuse to issue travel documents, leaving people in legal limbo for years. Detention capacity adds another challenge. Several provinces, including British Columbia and Nova Scotia, ended agreements allowing detainees in provincial jails. Ottawa has since expanded its own facilities, including a new immigration holding center in Sainte-Anne-de-Plaine, Quebec. Even with new funding, Removals move at the pace of diplomacy and law, not politics. The human and political fallout. Behind every deportation is a human story. Many affected are low-income workers, students, and rejected asylum seekers who have lived in Canada for years. Human rights advocates warn that rising costs and faster removals will hit these groups hardest. The new fees could push them further into debt or desperation. Ottawa insists deportations target only those with no legal right to remain, but critics argue that harsh enforcement could tarnish Canada's humanitarian image. The country remains bound by treaties that forbid returning anyone to places where they face persecution or torture, and mistakes can have life-altering consequences. Politically, the government faces a tightrope. It must appear compassionate while proving control of the border amid voter frustration over housing and public service pressures. The approach is meant to project toughness without abandoning Canada's humanitarian values. But one wrongful deportation or high-profile error could ignite public outrage. Rising numbers, shifting definitions. Deportations are increasing, though the data varies depending on how it's counted. A February 2025 report recorded 7,300 deportations in 2024, an 8% rise from the previous year, the highest in a decade. Another government update stated that more than 14,000 inadmissible foreign nationals were removed between January and October 2024. Both are correct. The first counts formal deportations under Canadian immigration law, while the second includes voluntary and administrative removals. The message is the same. Canada is ramping up enforcement, and the new funding ensures that pace continues. Accountability and transparency. With so much money at stake, the public wants proof that it's being spent effectively. How many removal orders are actually enforced? How much of the new revenue is recovered? And how many cases stall because of legal or diplomatic delays? The Canada Border Services Agency says it plans to modernize its systems, improve documentation, and work more closely with foreign governments to accelerate returns. It's also investing in more humane detention facilities and hiring additional staff to manage the workload. This record budget isn't just about flights and escorts, it's about rebuilding the entire framework of border enforcement. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. The hidden variable that could decide the crackdown's fate, Canada's digital weak spot. Money builds capacity, but technology drives success. The outcome of Ottawa's $500 million crackdown may depend on one overlooked factor: digital coordination. For years, enforcement agencies have struggled with fragmented databases and slow file transfers. Information sharing between the Canada Border Services Agency, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada remains outdated and inefficient. The new budget includes funding to upgrade these systems, but experts warn that without real integration, millions could be wasted chasing paper trails. Smarter analytics could identify which cases are easiest to remove and reduce unnecessary detention time. Digital check-ins and biometric verification could replace some physical custody, saving costs and protecting rights. But if implemented poorly, these tools could raise privacy concerns and erode public trust. If Ottawa truly wants results, it must invest not only in manpower, but in intelligent systems that make enforcement faster, fairer, and more accountable. Path forward: building a smarter system. The real issue isn't just cost, it's coordination. To make this record budget effective, Canada must 1. Prioritize data-driven removals to focus on cases that can be resolved efficiently. 2. Improve cooperation between agencies, courts, and foreign governments. 3. Balance deterrence with fairness for low-income migrants. 4. Publish transparent performance results to maintain accountability. 5. Invest in humane federal facilities that uphold Canadian values. If executed properly, this could transform an outdated system into one that's proactive and transparent. If not, it risks becoming another expensive bureaucratic experiment. Canada's record enforcement plan marks a turning point. $500 million devoted to proving that immigration laws still have power. Whether it restores control or sparks controversy will depend on how Ottawa manages the balance between order and compassion. Canada's $500 million enforcement push is more than a budget story. It's a test of priorities and national values. The government says the new funding will make the system faster and fairer, But it also raises tough questions about transparency and humanity. If you found today's breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're first to see our next deep dive on Canada's immigration updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.